Welcome to the Empowered Midlife, where we explore the transformative journey of embracing our true selves in midlife. I'm your host, Dr. T. Join me each week as we share insights, personal stories, and yes, practical tips to live our midlife unapologetically with authenticity and empowerment. Together, we'll uncover the joy of rediscovering purpose, tapping into your inner power, and embracing the changes that come with aging. If you're ready to redefine your midlife, reclaim your health, and live life fully, fully empowered, guess what? You're in the right place. Welcome to another episode of the Empowered Midlife. I am your host, Dr. T, and today we're going to talk about something very near and dear to my heart, self-care. Actually, radical self-care. Radical self-care is not just bubble baths, getting your nails done, and all of that type of stuff, but radical self-care is really self-preservation. It's really about you prioritizing who you are. So in this episode, we will talk about the 5 pillars of radical self-care, how to release guilt, and prioritize you. We'll also talk about self-care and how to create a self-care routine just for you. Self-care is more than luxury. It's actually survival, sis. So self-care isn't selfish. It's how you stay healthy, emotionally, and mentally well. As a midlife woman, we often juggle caring for others. Let's just be honest. We care for others so much that it's so much of who we are as Black women. We actually do it to a fault almost. We neglect our own needs and we just push through to give everybody else what they need. But here's the thing. We actually learned how to do that early on as young girls, especially if you were the older sibling in a sibling group. And so as Black women, we took on that mantle to be able to show up for everybody else, even if it meant neglecting our own needs. So let's talk about this for a second. Do any of these sound familiar to you? Chronic exhaustion. Raise your hand if it sounds like you. Resentment, irritability, burnout, bitterness, emotional detachment, numbness, emotional numbness, putting everyone else's needs before your own, feeling disconnected from joy and personal fulfillment. That's our everyday lives, ladies. But after today, we're going to learn why radical self-care is so very important. So let's dive right on in. What are the 5 pillars of radical self-care? Well, here's the truth of the matter. When we think of self-care, we generally think of massages, nails, hair, lashes, bubble baths, spa days. That's the truth of the matter. But there are actually 5 pillars to radical self-care. So here's the first one, emotional self-care. Whether you're prioritizing your own mental wellness or your own emotional wellness, you need to make sure that your radical self-care routine includes emotional self-care. How do we prioritize our own mental wellness? Well, here are some ways that I teach ladies how to prioritize their own mental and emotional wellness. Number 1, journaling. Our thoughts are racing 1,000 miles an hour. And just be honest, if you're in midlife, it's doing it all the time, right? So journaling helps you to unravel that huge bowl of spaghetti and thoughts in your brain to actually take them from here to paper. I don't recommend putting them and typing them on your phone, but taking the time out to drink a good cup of tea or a good cup of coffee and actually journal what's going on inside of you. A lot of times I will tell my clients, I don't give journaling prompts, writing prompts, because the brain is going to dump what the brain is going to dump. It's the brain's way of saying, here are some things that I need to process. So you may see as you start journaling, things that keep coming back up. Yeah, that's your brain telling you, here is something I really want to process. Here's the second way you can prioritize your mental wellness and emotional wellness. Therapy. Hello, I am a therapist. Of course, therapy is going to be on the list. Finding you a good therapist that you can talk to and confide in is a way of helping you to manage that emotional self-care. Here's another way: saying no without guilt. Remember, no is a complete sentence and it doesn't need explanation. Ladies, we've got to learn to put these boundaries up, and a boundary is simply saying no. So I've got a question for you. What emotions, sis, have you been suppressing that you need space to acknowledge them? Think about that for a second. There are some emotions that we tend to just push down and push down and push down and ignore and ignore and ignore. But let's just be honest. Can we just talk about that for a second? What are some of those emotions that you're hiding from yourself, thinking that, you know what, I'm just going to push through and keep making things happen? Here's the second pillar of radical self-care: physical self-care, ladies. Yes, let's talk about it. Every morning, I work out with a workout partner. She keeps me accountable. I started to notice that I wasn't feeling my best physically. There were things going long before I stepped on the scale and saw three numbers together that should not be together when I stand on a scale. Yeah, long before that, I started feeling differently. And so in that feeling, I decided, you know what? I need to work out more. Here's the mistake I made, ladies. I just started doing cardio. And in doing my research in how to manage menopause better, how to create a healthier body in midlife, here's what I found out, ladies. We need to be lifting some weights. That's right. We need to be pumping some iron in midlife. Muscles are so very important. As we age, we begin to lose muscle mass, and that is a cause for concern. Here's why. It's muscle mass that helps you when you fall. It's muscle mass that helps you get out of the bed and out of your chair. It's muscle mass that keeps you strong so that you can walk up and down stairs. And as we age, we naturally begin to lose muscle mass. Here's the problem. If we're not doing something, i.e., strength training, to add to our muscles, to add to our muscle mass, here's what's going to happen. You're going to be more prone to falls. You're going to be more prone to taking more time to become healthy once you've fallen. So, ladies, you cannot be afraid to pump a little iron. Here's the truth. You're not going to bulk up like Arnold Schwarzenegger. You don't have enough testosterone in your body to do that. So don't be afraid of pumping a little iron. Menopause is a time of our lives where we just have to be honest that things are changing in our bodies. So remember, strength training is important. Nutrition is a must. And here's what I like to do a lot of in my midlife now, my middle time of my life. Here's what I love to do a lot of: REST. Rest. Let me spell that one more time for you, because it's not a curse word. REST. Rest. Yes, ladies, rest is what you need. How many of you go to bed at the same time every night or around the same time? You should be. Just as you have a morning ritual routine to get your body ready to go to work, you need to have a bedtime ritual routine that nurtures your body. For me, it's getting home from work, watching something funny, taking a long, hot shower, and unwinding, not with this, but with something else that soothes my soul. So I love listening to nature sounds. I love listening to brown noise, which actually helps me to calm my brain down enough so that I can drift off peacefully to sleep. So, what's your bedtime ritual, sis? Well, I guess a better question might be is do you even have one? So, if not, my gentle challenge to you today is to create a bedtime ritual that nurtures your body. Here's another pillar: spiritual self care, nourishing your soul with daily prayer, meditation, scriptures, and affirmations. Can I give you a good affirmation for you to kind of put in your heart today for this week ahead of us? I deserve peace, rest, and joy. Can we say that again together? I deserve peace, rest, and joy. So as you go through your day, remember to add a little bit of meditation. And when I say meditation, I don't necessarily mean om. Meditation can simply be a 4x4 box breathing method. Pretty simple. Let me demonstrate it for you real quick. So here we are. We're going to inhale in 4 counts. We're going to hold for 4 counts. We're going to exhale in 4 counts. And we're going to hold in 4 counts. So if you think of a 4x4 box, inhale, hold for 4, exhale, hold for 4, inhale, hold for 4, exhale, hold for 4. So let's practice that real quick, ladies. Inhale, hold for 4, exhale, and hold for 4. Doing that several times throughout the day can actually lower your blood pressure and reduce your anxiety. Yep, just a little bit of spiritual self-care there for you, sis. Here's the next pillar of self-care. And I told you, self-care is more than just getting your nails done, your hair done, and a spa day. How about financial self-care, sis? Building security and freedom is so very important in midlife. Listen, I say I plan on living at least 40 more years. That would make me 95 by the time I get ready to say goodbye to this earth. But here's the thing. Right now, I need to be building security and freedom. Right now, I need to change my money mindset to go from spending all willy-nilly like I got time to save and to be intentional about how I plan to go into the rest of my life. Do you invest in your future? How do you invest in your future? Have you met with a financial planner to help you get ready for the rest of your life? See, right now is a good time in our lives, but here's the truth of the matter. It's called midlife. You still got a lot of life to live, sis. So right now, you need to be planning for your future. Do you invest in your future, in yourself? Why is that so important? For no other reason. You deserve it, sis. You deserve to have the life that you want financially. So, sis, make that appointment this week. You need to get financially ready for the rest of your life. And here's the 5th pillar: social self-care. Now, I might have to spend a little bit of time on this one because we've gone so long with showing up for everybody else, and I cannot stress this enough. Social self-care is really about you setting boundaries and building supportive connections that help to bring out the best in you. Sis, walk away from toxic relationships. Those toxic relationships that drain you instead of filling you up, sis, walk away from them. We don't have time for that anymore. You need to be surrounding yourself with women who pour into you, relationships that thrill you and make you happy. Listen, now is the time for you to be around people who want the best for you, not people who are doubting you and leeching from you. Let me say that again. Not being around people who doubt you and leech around you. I heard you, sis. Okay, so let me address that. Here's what I heard you say, sis, and I'm coming for you. You ready? But they're always asking me. You know why they're always asking you? Because you set it up that you're always the answer to their problem. They are not going to change until you do. Changing yourself from always being the answer or plan A to no, thank you for the invitation, or no, I'm not going to be able to help you. Now you empower them to come up with ways for them to take care of themselves. So sis, when you stop being plan A, they will stop coming to ask you. But as long as you're saying yes, and as long as you're walking around with this superwoman on your chest, they're going to keep coming because you keep showing up that way. When you stop showing up that way, they will begin to change. So, who in your life truly supports your peace and growth? Or is it now time for you to reevaluate those relationships in your life, sis? Your radical self-care plan is really all about you. And that's not a curse word. It really is all about you. So I heard you. Tracy, how do I even create a radical self-care plan? I'm glad you asked. So here's the first step. Since you got to identify your needs, what is the one area of self-care you've been neglecting the most? Is it your emotional self-care? Is it your financial self-care? Maybe, just maybe, it's your commitment to other people instead of committing to yourself. Whatever that one area is, you need to make note of it. Here's the second step. You need to set what I like to call a non-negotiable routine. That's right, a non-negotiable routine. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to choose one daily must-have self-care ritual. It could be your morning walk. It could be your quiet time, your prayer time. It could be your journaling time. It could be committing yourself to do your deep breathing, your box breathing 4 times a day. Like me, I'm committed to watching either the Jetsons or the Flintstones every single day. Why? Because that's part of my self-care routine. I love laughter. So watching something that reminds me of my childhood and reminds me to laugh is what I do every single day. So I end my day with laughter. It's part of my non-negotiable self-care routine. Here's step 3, protect your energy, sis. That's right. Listen, your superpower is self-care. You've got to protect your energy. What and who do you need to say no to? Remember, no is a complete sentence and you don't need to explain it. When you say no to others, you are actually saying yes to yourself. So think about some of those routines where you've actually got to go in and put boundaries in place. Listen, you can't be afraid to say no. You can't be guilted into saying yes to something you actually want to say no to. Sis, you've got to protect your energy and you've got to protect your peace. Here's step 4. You've got to find your self-care accountability partner. Who is that person that you can connect with? Your friend, your mentor, or your spouse. Believe it or not, my spouse is my self-care accountability partner. He can tell when I'm just a puddle of water, tired and exhausted and need to go sit down somewhere. He knows by the sound of my voice when I walk in that door whether or not I'm going to be able to engage with him or whether or not I just need to make my way to the shower and to the bed because I have spent the entire day doing for everybody else. I've taught my husband the importance of self-care, even for him. When he goes deep sea fishing or whether or not he goes to the beach by himself to spend time away for himself, I've taught him the importance of self-care. So sis, you need to find you a self-care accountability partner. The person who's going to remind you to turn the phone off. The person who's going to remind you, hey, have you been to the gym this week? The person who's going to remind you to eat the right foods that fuel your soul and not just that temporary sweet tooth? Who can you bring into your circle now to say, I need you to be my self-care accountability partner? And give them permission to hold you accountable. So here's the takeaway that I want you to walk away from this podcast with today. Radical self-care isn't just an act, sis. It's a lifestyle. You've got to be intentional about the way you show up for you. Radical self-care, it's choosing you unapologetically. It's you being intentional for you, putting up the boundaries to protect you, and making sure the favorite version, the best version, the most loving version shows up for you. Radical self-care is about self-love. It's about self-worth. It's about your self-image. It's about your self-esteem. Radical self-care is the way you love you. And here's what I want you to remember. You can't love other people better than you love yourself. Let me say that one more time for the people in the back, because I felt that. You can't love other people better than you love yourself. You teach other people how to treat you by the way you love yourself. So here's my challenge for the week. Pick one self-care practice and commit to it every single day this week. Can you do that for you, sis? Can you commit not to your children, not to your spouse, not to your job, not to the parents that you're taking care of, not to the grandkids, but sis, can you commit to yourself this week by practicing one self-care practice? I'd love to hear from you all. I want you to share your self-care commitment in the comments if you're watching me on YouTube. I like to see how you're committing to yourselves. And if you have not subscribed to this podcast, sis, I need you to take a moment and I need you to subscribe. It's free of charge, but I want you to make sure you get my podcast when I drop them. And I got one more favor I need to ask you. Make sure you share this podcast. There's somebody you know who needs to hear what I shared today. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook. And I want to tell you honestly from the bottom of my heart, thank you for tuning in to the Empowered Midlife. Keep choosing yourself, keep loving on yourself, keep believing in yourself. Why? Because self-care, sis, that's our superpower. So until next time, stay empowered.